Okay, everyone, let me explain something a little further. We've had a few questions about the box and whisker plot, and I know exactly why we've had questions. So let's look at this. I get this question just about every semester, some way or somehow. This is our box that we drew at the end of the last video. Okay? Alright, the lines that extend from the box are called are called whiskers. Okay, the box itself are box. That's kind of explanatory. So we said this line was Q1, this line was Q2, this line was Q3. Now, where the confusion lies is not in my explanation. It was what you were looking at in my explanation. Okay, I said this statement. There is less variation in the middle two quarters, which no one had a problem with that. You can see how there's not much variation in here and not much variation here. So there's less variation between those two. Okay? They're the smallest in terms of how the data is spread. Because remember, where those vertical lines are placed is how the data is spread, is where the medians of those quartiles are. Okay? So that data spread is close together. Now, where the confusion lies is in the next part of my statement when I said there are the first and fourth quarters have the greatest variation. Everybody was okay with that. But that the fourth quarter had the greatest variation of all. And here's where the confusion came in. Now, the whisker, this part right here, this is Q1. This is the first quarter. This is Q1, but this is the first quarter of data. Okay, it's better to say that. The left whisker represents the spread of the first quarter of data. Is what that basically means. The left whisker represents the spread of the first quarter of data. Then you have the middle of that data is the middle part is Q1, and then the other half of the first half of data is our second quarter. So this would be the second quarter in this first box. Then you have our median of the whole set. Then you have 50% on the other side. So you have Q3 is this other box. But here's where the confusion came in. When I said Q4 had the greatest variation, a lot of you were looking at this right here, this whisker, and you said, that right there is smaller than the other whisker. How can that have more variation? Well, remember, just because you have a whisker that's short doesn't mean that represents all the data. From that whisker all the way out to the asterisk is the fourth quarter of data. So, so you've got to include that. So that's spread much further than the first quarter. So that's why the fourth quarter of data actually has a greater spread. It's because you have to count the asterisk in there with it. Okay, that's where people were getting confused. Not in necessarily my explanation, not in necessarily the way it was drawn, or even your understanding of it. I'm very proud of your understanding of the drawing and what it means. It was how was Q4 greater than Q1? That seemed to be the overall arching question that everybody had. So hopefully that explains it to you, that you had to have that asterisk in there as well. And remember, you've got 25% here. This is 25%. Then you have a median mark, which is Q1. Then this is 25%. The median mark of the whole data set, which is Q2. You have 25%. The median mark of the upper half, which is Q3. And then you have 25% here. That's our four quarters, okay? So the box represents the middle 50%. This box represents our IQR, the interquartile range. Hopefully that makes sense to you and that better explains that. Sorry for the confusion in the last video. Um, my drawing didn't necessarily explain itself very well, and I didn't explain the drawing very well, evidently. So hopefully that clears it up. If you have any questions, please ask your instructor. Have a great day.